bought my dream apartment after 8 years of sacrifice. Skipped vacations. Canceled birthdays. Late nights. Early mornings. Every dollar saved was another step closer to peace. So, I planned a small celebration. Just 15 people. Family mostly. Invitations sent a month early. Group texts. Calendar reminders. Even a food menu labeled with everyone's name. I cleaned every corner twice. Lit candles. Pressed the linen napkins. And then, I waited. And waited. Not one knock. Not a single running late. I stood at the door with a tray of cupcakes melting in my hands as the sun dipped behind my brand new skyline view. Then I heard it. A ping. My mom had posted a boomerang with champagne flutes clinking in someone else's house. Proud of our girl's first home. The caption read, a filtered smile. A toast. My name tagged. But not a soul in sight. The photos were taken from my own Instagram. I stood there, alone in the place I built brick by emotional brick, and realized they never planned to come. Not to my party. Not to my joy. Not to me. My name is Ivy Talbot. I'm 30. And if you think you know how this ends, stay tuned. Because what happens when the people who are supposed to show up for your light use it to polish their own reflection? What happens when the place you thought you'd celebrate with family becomes the place you learn to exist without them? I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I turned off the lights, ate alone on the kitchen floor, and when the final candle burned out, I whispered to the dark, you only get to betray me once. I didn't go online the next day. I didn't want to see their likes, their fake congratulations, their digital applause for a party they didn't show up to. Instead, I woke up early, made coffee in my new kitchen, and sat by the window watching fog roll in. It felt strange. I had everything I dreamed of, granite counters, a walk-in closet, real hardwood floors, but I felt like a squatter in my own happiness. That's when the doorbell rang. It was my neighbor, Mrs. Keene, late 60s. Floral dress. She handed me a tiny potted plant. This place deserves love, she said. You deserve people who water you back. She didn't stay long, but I cried when she left. Later that night, I opened my family group chat. Missed messages. You should have reminded us again. Your brother had his game. Next time, let's just do dinner at Mom's. Then Mom chimed in. By the way, can you help co-sign Ezra's lease? It would mean so much.
I didn't respond.
Instead, I opened my banking app. 2 auto payments from my account. One for Mom's cable, one for Ezra's car insurance. I canceled both. I sent a single message. I bought this apartment for peace. Not to be a silent sponsor for people who don't care I exist. Consider this the last payment. Silence. Then 3 dots appeared and vanished. It was the quietest group chat had ever been. I looked around my apartment. Walls I painted myself, shelves I built, windows I cleaned, and whispered, this home isn't for them. It's for me. Because sometimes the people who never show up are the ones who taught you how to stand alone. A week passed. No apology. No surprise visit. Just silence, and then, predictably, a favor. Mom called, voice tight and sweet. Ezra's loan didn't go through. They said you were listed as the fallback cosigner. Could you just... I didn't even let her finish. I removed myself, I said calmly. Like I removed the spare keys I left under your mat. A pause. Then her voice sharpened. Don't punish your family over a little miscommunication. You're being dramatic. There it was. The word again. Dramatic. The word they used when I cried at graduations they skipped. When I sent reminders no one read. When I poured effort into invisible milestones. I said nothing. Just ended the call, blocked her number, and deleted the shared family calendar. That night, I walked to the rooftop of my apartment. The skyline blinked with soft city light, wind weaving through my hair like a lullaby. I wasn't angry anymore, just weightless, until I got a DM from someone unexpected.
Hey.
I was at Ezra's party. Your mom said you didn't want visitors. Said you preferred to be left alone. That didn't sound like you. It was Sarah, my cousin from Michigan. She had tears in her voice even through text. I would have come, Ivy. I'm sorry. I replied honestly. Thank you. You're the only one who's asked how I felt. Then she asked something that made me stop breathing. Can I come visit now? I'd love to see your place. I looked out at the view, lights twinkling like promises, and smiled.
Yes.
I'd like that. Because healing doesn't mean isolating forever. It means deciding who still deserves a seat at your table. Sarah arrived the next weekend with a tote bag, a bakery box, and arms that hugged like home. We sat on the floor of my empty dining area, eating raspberry tarts off napkins and talking like we used to when we were kids, before distance, before adult things, before expectations cracked everything open. She asked, "Do you miss them?" I thought for a while, watching steam rise from our mugs. I miss the version of them I used to believe in. Then I smiled. But I like this silence more than begging for noise that only hurts. Sarah didn't speak. She just nodded, slow and understanding. Later, we went through old boxes, childhood photos, report cards. One by one, I tossed the pieces I'd held on to out of obligation. And as I folded the final cardboard lid shut, something inside me shifted. I didn't owe anyone this apartment. Not the walls. Not the view. Not the happiness stitched together from broken pieces. They hadn't built this.
I had.
Sarah left on Sunday, leaving a sticky note on my fridge. Proof you can be the light, even when they leave you in the dark. But Monday brought another storm. An envelope from the family lawyer. A formal request, notarized, asking if I could voluntarily transfer part ownership of the apartment to Ezra as a symbol of unity. I almost laughed. Instead, I took a pen, wrote a single word across the form, and mailed it back. Denied. No speech. No drama. Just boundaries, the kind you build when you finally realize. Silence isn't weakness. It's freedom. I thought that would be the end of it. A clean break. A quiet line drawn in ink. But people like my family don't let go when they lose access to what they believe they own. 3 days later, Ezra showed up. Not a call. Not a message. He rang my doorbell at 7 a.m., wearing a tight smile and holding a grocery bag like it was an olive branch. I thought I'd come by and finally see the place, he said. I let him in, not because I wanted to, but because I wanted to see what the performance looked like up close. He walked around, nodding. Nice space. Could have used a little more light in the kitchen. Mom said you cut corners. I raised an eyebrow. Mom didn't pay for this. He laughed like I was joking, then set the bag down, pulled out orange juice, and poured himself a glass. As if he belonged. As if this wasn't the same man who'd texted LOL when I invited him and got no reply. He walked over to my bookshelf, ran a finger across the spines, then stopped. You know, he said, turning to me, it'd really mean a lot to the family if you just shared the asset. We could put it in everyone's name. Keeps things equal. I took the glass from his hand, poured the juice down the sink, and whispered, equal is when everyone builds, not when everyone takes. He stared at me, stunned, then turned, slammed the door behind him. I locked it, sat on the floor, and for the first time since move-in day, I laughed.
Not bitterly.
Not to hide the hurt, just freely. Because claiming your space means knowing who no longer gets to enter. I didn't expect the ripple, but sometimes standing up quietly is louder than any scream. The next morning, my building concierge slipped me a note. Your brother tried to leave a gift for you. I didn't let him up. I opened the small envelope. Inside was a check made out to me for $500, scribbled in Ezra's messy handwriting. On the memo line, for the walls you think are yours. I stared at it. It wasn't about money. It was bait. A test to see if I'd bite or bend. I didn't deposit it. I didn't tear it up either. I mailed it back, with a sticky note attached. These walls are mine, because I built them. Yours crumble every time someone tells you no. I didn't hear back for days. Until Mom called, pretending nothing ever happened. Oh, sweetie. We're planning a family dinner. Sunday night. Your father wants to toast Ezra's new business. I waited. Nothing else. No mention of me. Of course. I asked. Should I bring dessert? There was a pause. If you'd like. So, I made something special. A cake. But not just any cake. A 2-layer tiramisu, dusted with cocoa, and piped across the top in dark chocolate script. Built without you. I dropped it off 15 minutes before dinner. Handed it to the waiter. Left without a word. Later, Ezra posted a picture of it on his story, cropped so only the frosting swirl showed, not the message. But Sarah sent me the full photo. Captioned, "Even when she's iced out, she's the one serving the cake." That night, I slept peacefully. Because some families can't taste bitterness, even when it's written in frosting. And some daughters stop baking for ghosts. Thursday afternoon, I got an email from a real estate agent I'd never contacted. "Hi, Juliet. Your brother Ezra mentioned you're considering selling the apartment. I'd love to help." I stared at the screen, then at the message thread, copied below it, where Ezra had posed as me, using a fake email to initiate a valuation request. No apology, no shame, just entitlement dressed in business casual. I didn't reply. Instead, I printed the email, highlighted the fake address, and mailed it to my family's lawyer, the same one who'd sent me the ownership transfer request. Attached was a short note. "If they try again, I'll see you in court." No threats. No emotion. Just facts, folded cleanly into paper. The next evening, I hosted my first real dinner in the apartment. 3 friends. 1 coworker.
Sarah.
No blood relatives. We sat cross-legged around a coffee table filled with takeout boxes, mismatched plates, and 2 bottles of cheap wine. Laughter echoed. Music played from my phone. At one point, someone spilled curry, and we laughed even harder. It wasn't Pinterest perfect. It was real. And it was mine. When they left, Sarah hugged me extra long. "You're finally home," she said. And I felt it deep in my ribs. Not because the place was quiet. Not because it was filled. But because it wasn't pretending. It wasn't waiting for people who wouldn't come. It wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone. I looked around the room. No gifts. No inherited furniture. No family hand-me-downs. Just light. Clean air.
Peace.
Sometimes the most expensive thing you own is the space where no one else gets to rewrite your story. Weeks passed. Not a call. Not a knock. Just silence, the kind you earn. Then one morning I got a notification. Ezra's business had gone under. The building he leased had been shut down due to unpaid taxes. A family group chat, one I'd been removed from months ago, was now circulating screenshots of fundraisers, desperate pleas, and hashtags. Mom had posted, "Please help my son rebuild. He's always been so generous." Generous, like skipping my restaurant launch. Generous, like eating cake he didn't bake. Generous, like trying to steal the one thing I had built from the ground up. I didn't comment. I didn't share. But I did donate. $7.61, 1 cent for each year I saved to afford my apartment. Attached was a note. From the girl with no guest list.
I didn't need to see their reaction.
I already knew. Silence is the most eloquent language when you're done explaining your worth. The following Sunday, I opened my windows, brewed fresh coffee, and sat barefoot on my balcony. Below, the city pulsed with strangers chasing dreams. Above, clouds drifted slowly, directionless, but still moving. In my living room, a small card stood framed on the shelf. "You made a home out of absence." A gift from Sarah. A reminder that sometimes, peace isn't loud. It doesn't shout over the void. It simply fills it. Quietly, fiercely, fully. I smiled. Because they once taught me I wasn't enough. But I had learned to be more than expected. More than needed. More than forgiven. They lost me the moment they refused to show up. And I found myself the moment I stopped waiting. My name is Juliet Martin. And this is the story of how I became whole.